Hey you guys, today I want to talk to you about a very easy way to create a repeatable and predictable process to help people to talk to people about selling your coaching program. But first off, I want to let you know that I am doing one of those live coaching calls tomorrow. And instead of the usual 11 o'clock time, I actually had to switch it to 1 because I have a doctor's appointment. So if you haven't been to any of those calls live, I would love to invite you to come. It's really fun and you're going to see what it's like to coach with me. I'm pretty direct. I give you a lot of things to work on and I also give you a lot of mindset shifts. So even if you aren't getting coached live, it's really valuable. But if you do want to get coached live, I would love to have you and help you just to grow your business completely free. So food for thought for you. Also, I want to talk to you about how to create. The main topic of today is about how to create a repeatable and predictable business. It's like the main thing that I hear is the biggest concern when you first start your business is that there's so many variables. It seems very volatile. Like it's like, who knows what could happen to my business tomorrow? And so that is one of the reasons why launching can be really beneficial. So I'm going to talk to you about how I launch, even when you're doing just a regular one-on-one coaching program. Now, the reason why a lot of people have difficulty with their one-on-one coaching program launches, they feel like there's no set beginning time and set end time. Of course, when you're coaching one-on-one, people can start with you anytime and they can finish with you at any time. And if you want to know, like there's a fancy word for that called evergreen marketing, like evergreen trees. So it's like you're kind of in a constant state of launching. Now, that isn't great for you because you're kind of constantly selling. You're kind of like, work with me, work with me, work with me, work with me. And there isn't really like something special, like a reason why people would want to work with you other than giving your normal amazing content. So what you want to do is you want to actually set aside specific time for within your year for when you are selling your product and other times when you're just kind of giving general value. And the way that I figured out how to do this with my one-on-one coaching program is to sell using webinars. It's kind of awesome. But what you do is when you do a webinar, you're marketing it beforehand, you're giving a lot of value. And then when you actually do the webinar, it's a great opportunity for people to see what you teach, for people to get a little extra time with you. I usually do my webinars for around an hour. And it also creates excitement around your business that can be used for you to get people to buy into your business. So one of the things that I do is like when I'm doing a webinar, I'm giving away a ton of free value. Like if you've been to any of my webinars prior, you definitely know that. And if you want to see me in action doing the whole launching process, I'm actually doing another webinar on February 1st, and it's going to be about how to create marketing that converts. But those are things that like people really want to know. Like I've done how to do an annual plan. I've done one on time management, and I've done one on how to break up with your job, like simple social media systems. Like the list goes on. And I've really enjoyed using those times just to give free value. Like I hope that anyone that like follows me as a part of this Facebook group, as a part of like just watching me on Instagram, I hope that their business is thriving just by being in my vicinity without even paying me a dime. So that's a super fun thing. But it also is creating a specific time when you are selling and when you are not selling. So in order to do this, you first need to it might not work for you right away, is what I'm going to just disclaimer. I don't want you to listen to this and be like, well, Megan said to launch with a webinar, and so I'm going to do one webinar, and if it doesn't convert people, then done with webinars. When you are at the beginning of your business, you've got to get in there and you've got to get like scrappy and trying different things and being really resourceful and giving a ton of value to people. And you might not be exactly sure about what is going to work perfectly for your business, but that's why you've got to try multiple things. So even if you don't use webinars to launch, I would highly recommend it being just an additional way for you to gain expertise and experience teaching and giving value that you can utilize and refer back to for years to come. Now, for talking about conversion rates, it took me up until my 12th webinar to actually make my webinars, something that is a part of what I was saying at the beginning, my predictable and really reliable business formula. So within my 12th webinar, I hadn't converted people. It was something I was doing very frequently. I did 16 webinars for my personal audience, and then I did 13 for organizations outside of my business within the past, I think 14 months. So I've done a lot of webinars. And one of the things that you want to do is you want to keep doing things like webinars and things like that. Maybe even if it's not creating something directly, you want to continue to do it, because by the 12th webinar, I figured out that if I did a webinar, typically now at this stage, after doing it for a full year, I would finally start to convert someone that came to the webinar. And now I actually bring in 1 to 2 clients. So every single webinar that I do, I know I'm going to get a client from it. And that's what creates a predictable sales cycle that's makes your business feel really safe. Now, I would love to help you create this really predictable webinar cycle for you and your business, okay? And I actually give my clients literally everything that they need, like a webinar script. I give them every tool that they can use. I also talk them through the emails that I send, and you can use the exact wording that I have. I don't feel like I've copyrighted it or anything, just changing it for your program. And because I want to make this process easier for you. And one of the things that I was thinking about as I was talking about launching with webinars, I did my first launch in about a year and a half ago. It was June of 2021, and I just left my teaching job, and I was really feeling like my business was do or die. Let's go. I'm really invested. I literally quit my teaching job and I went for it. And the first time I did a webinar, nobody came except for I think my mom. I think my mom came. She's an amazing human. And I know that if you are at that point in your business, it can feel really devastating when you have something like that happen. And for that one webinar, I put well over 20 hours of my time in my business marketing it. I did 15 or 16 posts about it, and I did 5 different reels. So that was a lot of work that I was putting into. I marketed it for 6 weeks, and I didn't see any traction. And it was so devastating. I was like, well, I guess this is a sign that my business is never going to work. And it was wrong to leave teaching and all that stuff. And the other little tip I want to give you, if you're at that beginning stage of your business, I also didn't realize that just posting about my business, even though I was posting about it and I did my story, especially if you've never done a webinar, you have to actually invite people to come. I know that sounds crazy. I know that you're probably like, well, yeah, but I'm talking personally message people that you have talked to about your business or about the topic and actually invite them physically to come. And that was one of the biggest things that I learned from doing the first 3 webinars. Even though I had done 18 posts, it takes the average person 17 times of seeing your post literally just to join. So if I had only posted 16 or 17 times, no, that's not right, 20 times about this webinar, guess what? That was, unless someone was following me every single day and looking at every single thing that I did, which is not very likely, they didn't even have the percentage of likelihood to even join. So what in the world, essentially, you need to actually tell people. And I had a list of people that I help my clients create, and I can help you create too, of all these people who I talked to about coaching topics, about things that were related to coaching. If they hadn't even asked about coaching, I had a whole list of people, and I physically invited them all. I actually talked to them. I was like, hey, this could help you. Would you want to join? And I think the reason I didn't do this initially was because I didn't want to be pushy or salesy, but people actually wanted to come. It wasn't that they weren't like interested. And if they weren't interested and they just like didn't respond, or they were like, oh, sorry, can't make it, no big deal. But I wasn't doing the actual groundwork that needed to be done in order to actually sell out my webinars. So that's another really big tip. If you aren't personally inviting people to your webinars, please start. I literally, my last webinar, I invited 91 people, hand sent like messages through Instagram. I sent them through Facebook. I also sent them through like texting people, and 57 people signed up. So it's not that your content isn't good. It's not that you aren't experienced. You might need a little bit more experience, but also just invite people to come. So those are my tips for you. Launch using webinars and invite people to actually come to the webinar. And if you want help to do that, I would love to help you. I feel like when you are building something like a coaching business or any business really at all, and you feel really passionate and excited about something, I don't want it to feel as hard as it felt for me. I don't want you to have to go through the same struggle that I did. I want you to get there faster. I want it to be so much easier for you, because you're making a difference in the world, and I don't think that you should have to go through the same struggle that I did. So if you want some help, I would love to work with you. Go ahead and sign up for a consult. I'll put it in the comments below. And if you have any questions about like launching with webinars, if you have questions about how I messaged people, what I said to people, feel free to put it in the comments below, and I will see you guys later.